This is your Rocky read-along book. Every time you hear this chime, it means it's time to turn the page in your storybook. Now we are ready to begin.
So what was your first experience seeing Rocky 4?
I don't remember the very first time I saw it. I just remember that of all the Rocky movies, that is the one that I revisit the most.
Yeah.
And I hadn't watched it in a couple of years, and I threw it on because I wanted to show it to my wife. I showed her that one. I haven't shown her any of the other ones. And I decided to throw that one on, I don't know, like maybe 2 years ago. And holy crap, like we just had such a blast with it. I totally forgot it's basically just a big long music video, you know, like it's just nonstop montages with amazing songs, and it just flies by so fast. And then of course Dolph Lundgren, my dude, my guy, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a blast with it, and I have since watched all of the other ones for sure, but man, Rocky 4 is just my personal favorite, you know, kind of like the same way I love A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 the most, because that one also to me just feels like this random long music video.
Oh, that's definitely MTV. Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's
4 is so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So initial reactions.
Yes. You go first.
Okay. So I went Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
It was the one night only Fathom event.
Yep.
And it was pretty cool. It was a 7 p.m. showing. I was getting nervous because nothing was happening for the longest time, and it wasn't until 7:20. And then Ben Mankiewicz comes on, and they do a live Q&A from Philadelphia with Stallone, which was awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they talked for a good 30 minutes, I want to say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just all about his thought process going into this new version, and just, you know, his legacy in general.
Like, what motivated you to go back to Rocky 4? Because this is not a director's cut that has a couple of little changes designed for the studio to just hype up and release another movie. You have, in many ways, transformed this film.
Oh, thank you. I just felt that because of COVID, I was working on a film called Samaritan, and they shut down literally for a year. I thought, what am I going to do with myself? Writing is really challenging. I started to write something, and I thought, you know, why don't I recut a film? Rocky was the most popular. I thought that would be the easiest one to get past MGM saying, you know, won't be a black hole, a money pit. I think this will work. But more importantly, I knew that film was flawed in a way that I was very taken by the times.
That was enough for me, just being a huge Stallone fan, just to sit there and, you know, watch him hold court talking about it.
Yeah.
But then it was another 10-minute wait before the movie started. And then, yeah, it started.
So was it the theater, was it like packed or half packed, or
it was about, I'd say, half capacity, and it was a big theater. It was actually my second choice. The first theater I was going to was sold out except for the first row, so I was like, I'm not gonna. So I went to the mall theater to go, you know, where they have a huge seating arrangement.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it was awesome sitting there with a bunch of people who are huge fans. They're dedicated fans, not just of the franchise, but Stallone, you know.
Yeah.
And we all know the song by heart, but we weren't sure how the lyrics were going to play out this time. So that was interesting.
Yes.
I definitely have reservations about this version. It is in no way my preferred version. It never will be, unfortunately.
I'm with you. Yep.
Yeah. But
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
I look at it as a curiosity, you know.
Mhm.
It's like an alternate take in this Rocky universe. And
Yeah.
there are some choice moments that are in there that are nice.
Yeah.
But my initial takeaway was it felt like I was watching a work print.
Oh, dude, you know what? That's actually a really great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of it was because the biggest sacrifice, I think, was Vince DiCola's awesome score.
Oh my God, dude, if I had started talking first, that was going to be literally my first thing that I was going to mention. And that's the first thing I noticed. I'm like,
Yeah.
how come I don't hear his music? Like,
Yeah.
and I was paying attention. It took like an hour until you finally came to a sequence where you noticed his iconic score. And I was
Yeah.
like, where has this been? And there were times when I thought I remembered there should be some playing in this moment, but you know, it wasn't playing. And then there were times when I thought I heard it, but it was so low, it was so muted, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And man, no, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're right. Vince DiCola, man.
No,
his
yeah, that was
score.
like,
Yeah.
it was all Bill Conti stuff, which to me, if you're doing a work print, I mean, you're going to have like, you know, source cues that you're going to borrow just to flesh out the edit. And why wouldn't you? You know, when he edited the thing, he went with the Bill Conti cues, you know?
Yeah.
So it felt very much in league with the previous three movies in that sense. And, which is cool. But at the same time, in the Q&A, he kind of talked about how it is so 80s. And like you mentioned, it is very much a music video and it's all about the montage, and he was quick on the edits. And he admits it, you know.
Yeah,
and it's the
okay,
shortest
cool.
Rocky film in the franchise. It's like 91 minutes. It's yeah.
But if I remember correctly, also, wasn't it the highest grossing?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah. So it works. It worked. Like, it's a product of its time, but it fucking worked, man, you know?
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with it being a product of its time.
Nope.
Rocky's a product of the 70s, you know. I mean,
oh yeah.
It was of that time. And Vince DiCola's score, I think, was unfortunately one of the elements that was sacrificed because of that.
Yeah.
It's so good, you know.
I kept thinking, because you know, I'm watching it and I'm thinking the new version, you know, his new director's cut. And I'm watching it and I just kept thinking, like, okay, I've noticed so many changes, right? And while I'm noticing these changes, I'm thinking in my head, okay, he probably did this because of this, and he probably did that because of that. You know, I'm like thinking what his thought process was, but I honestly could not figure out why Vince's score was so minimal this time, when it elevates everything every time it comes on, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was honestly quite bummed. And I'm glad I'm glad it's still there technically, you know, like there are definitely at the hour mark, I believe, is when it finally, you know, comes, you know, full force again. But man, I was just like really thrown off by the fact that I wasn't hearing this iconic score. And honestly, whether people remember his score as being such a huge part of the movie or not, it really is a huge part of Rocky IV.
It's intrinsic. You know? Yes, very much.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So dude, honestly, I think even more so than the rock songs in the soundtrack. You know, I mean, I know he uses Eye of the Tiger, of course, and you know, that's like his Rocky.
Yeah.
But in Rocky IV, at least in the theatrical cut, man, like I felt Vince's score and his songs were so much more rocky than the rock songs he chose, you know. So I was pretty bummed. I was bummed as well. Yeah.
What happened in this new version is that there is so much humanity added. And I don't know that I would have said instinctively that it was missing originally, but there is definitely more of it. More from you, more from Apollo, more from Adrian, more from Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's the big problem. I think as you get older, you know, you're very enthusiastic when you're young. You know, you're firing on every cylinder. but what you don't have is life experience, and also you learn tolerance, and you learn all about the different ambiguities of this crazy life we live. And I thought, wow, looking at this, these characters have not really been fleshed out the way they should. I opted at that time for speed. These little moments make the big moment. The fine strokes on the painting make the masterpiece, not the big strokes.
And he talked about, you know, pushing for more of the Adrian moments, which anything with, you know, between Rocky and Adrian, give me more of that, please. I like that scene in the kitchen, you know, that little discourse that they had, although you're ditching the whole anniversary sequence, which I absolutely love. That little tender moment between the two of them, you know? That's all gone. Paulie's robot is gone. He teased that for the longest time. I was like, shit, he's gonna cut it.
I went to a pizza parlor, and a robot started talking to me. I go, this has got to be in the movie. And then it was there. I'm going, why is this in the movie? You know what I mean?
Paulie's kind of cut quite a bit too. It felt
he
like.
is. Not as much as Brigitte Nielsen, but
yeah,
man,
have you heard about that? It's like
I haven't heard like if there was a specific reason, but it was painfully obvious she was like in it a fraction of what she was before. And like you said earlier, there are moments when they're like, especially in some montages, it's like a quick shot of her face or her reaction, and like he can't cut that out, you know. It's like part of this. But yeah, I was just like, wow, where the hell did she go, you know? And then no mention of her being the wife of Drago.
Oh really? I didn't even catch that.
Yeah,
they don't
even
okay.
So like, especially when I rewatched the theatrical cut again, several times throughout the film, you know, they mentioned she's the wife, she was an Olympic swimmer or something,
right?
Or they mention Drago as being her husband. In the new director's cut, no mention at all, ever. It's never brought up that they're married, you know. So yeah,
she just comes off as another manager, basically.
And like, honestly, after that first press conference, I don't think we really even see her. I think that the first press conference with Apollo and Drago in the director's cut is like the biggest moment, or the, you know, the longest sequence that she's in. Other than that, like, you see little quick shots of her, you don't see her talking. So
well, it's a hashtag exclude Milla.
Oh dude, okay.
Fact,
I wasn't aware.
Brigitte Nielsen posted about it on Instagram.
Oh no.
Yeah,
what
she's
she
like,
say?
barely anything of Ludmilla is left in this new director's cut. What do you guys think?
How come she's such a big character and has 9 times more dialogue than he has?
Because he's supposed to be stalwart and a tough Russian.
Maybe
punched, she talked.
Maybe it's because she's played by Stallone's girlfriend.
I think she did a nice job.
Because I think if he'd been allowed to take over all of that dialogue and be more of a character, it would have been a lot better than him sitting there silently while Brigitte Nielsen has all of the best lines.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Well, I do think so.
As I said, he punched, she talked.
You know, you could spin it like that's his ex-wife, but
I know, right?
But he didn't have to include her in Creed 2, which surprised the hell out of me when I saw it.
So what are they saying online about Nielsen though? Like that he cut her out on purpose out of bitterness, or
no? I think that's just the conclusion people would think, just because they're, you know, they used to be married.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that's necessarily intentional, because I feel like a lot of people are excluded in this. I think there's a bit more, I will say there's a lot more Tony Burton in this, which I loved, because I loved that extended funeral sequence for Apollo. His speech, why would you have cut that in the first place? That was amazing.
Exactly. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I like that that sequence is started with him, you know, giving this speech, and then Stallone comes in and does his much longer version than the one he did in the theatrical cut. Yeah. And you know, does some crying and stuff.
Gets a little John Rambo at the end of First Blood.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm pretty much already, I feel like we're on the same page as far as how we both feel about this new version, you know.
Yeah.
Because I feel the exact same way walking away from it. I was just like, huh. I was like, it was cool. It's kind of like, you know, I love, you know, if anybody follows me, they know how much I love Dolph Lundgren, right? So it's like me watching that work print version of The Punisher. You know, it's
Oh,
cool
yeah.
seeing him as Frank Castle in the beginning, but I understand why they cut it all out. You know, it really
Right.
doesn't help the movie in any way. And it does
But
slow
it's-
it down a bit, but it's
But
cool.
it's
It's cool
awesome
to
for
watch.
his fans.
Yes, it's awesome to see all that stuff. So I watched this version, right? And I'm just like, man, I want to love it. And I see what he's doing. I do. And maybe if somebody, if this is the first time they're watching part 4, not having seen the theatrical cut, I can understand them really loving it, because it does follow the tone and the theme of the first 3, or at least parts 2 and 3, you know.
Yeah.
Like it especially with the Bill Conti music, and the way it's centered more around drama. And I will say, though, on the plus side, the fight scenes are far more intense, you know.
They go on
And
quite longer too, especially
yeah,
yeah.
they're longer and far more intense. And I was just like, even me, no matter how, even though I've seen this like I don't know how many times, I'm watching the director's cut, and I'm just like, oh shit, you know, like, ow. Yeah, it was pretty brutal, like,
Yeah.
fucking brutal. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the whole the extension, especially of Apollo's fight, because it gave him more of a fighting chance than him just being like a rag doll. Like he, you know, in the theatrical, he just demolishes him. You
Yeah,
know?
right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was hard to process as a kid. I was like, well, I mean, I saw that, I don't know if it was opening weekend. I must have been like 8 years old or something when I saw it, but I was already blown away by the fact that I was seeing a Rocky movie in the theater, right?
Yeah.
And then James Brown shows up,
Yeah.
and I just about lost my shit. I couldn't believe it.
Rocky 4, rated PG. Starts Wednesday. Check newspapers for a theater near you.
Yeah, everything about it. Like it's
Mhm.
it's finely tuned 91-minute movie. I mean, it's perfect in every way.
Yeah.
And he also takes a lot of the guilt out of the fight, wherein he's going to throw in the towel and Tony Burton's like begging for him to do it.
Yeah.
The guilt level is diminished quite a bit in this new version.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because I feel like the weight needs to be on him for that, you know.
Yep.
Especially with that argument with Adrian right afterward, you know, before the thank God that it's still in the movie, the no easy way out montage.
Yeah.
Dude, I said that out loud in the theater. I was like, thank God.
You know, recently I went to the theater to watch the Transformers the movie, you know, the 1985
The only movie
animated.
that's worth watching.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. With Vince's score, you know, iconic music, of course. And I am so glad it was like me going to watch Batman 1989 again, you know, and at the theater, which I did a couple of years ago. They screened it as part of the classic series at our local theater. And God, what an experience. But so I feel like if I had gone to see this Rocky 4 and not the theatrical Rocky 4, like I would have been a little bummed if I had gone through, you know, the trouble of going to the theater and spending that, you know, that money on the ticket and all that stuff, and then all the extra shit you end up buying when you're there. And because, you know, sadly, when it was all over, I was just kind of like a little underwhelmed, to be honest. You know, I see what he's doing for sure. And it definitely plays more into the way parts 2 and 3 are structured, and the vibe and tone that they have. But man, there's still a reason part 4 is, you know, the biggest money maker out of the bunch, and the one that, you know, has Dolph Lundgren and James Brown, and like there's like so many things about it, you know. And not just that, the songs that he chose have become iconic to that movie. Not just to that movie, but they're famous now, you know, because of that movie. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna stick with the theatrical cut. and I can appreciate seeing the new stuff and the new cut and then the way he presents it. But for my personal taste, man, it's still going to be the fun version.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
fun version. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
do you watch that around Christmas time?
Rocky IV?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't.
Really? You don't have an unconventional Christmas list of movies? Because Stallone's done a ton of them. First Blood. I think
Yeah.
Paradise Alley has quite a bit of Christmas in it too. Rocky
Okay.
4.
Yeah.
Rocky 5 to an
Cobra?
extent. Yeah, Cobra.
Isn't it Cobra
Absolutely.
technically? Holy shit, that's right. Wow, you're blowing
Dude, he
my
loves
mind right now.
Christmas. He loves Christmas.
Huh? That's like Shane Black. He revolves
Yeah.
all his movies around Christmas. What the hell? I'm just
Yeah.
realizing that right now. What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, I do not have an unconventional Christmas movie list, but man, now you're really going to get me to start thinking about that. Now I wonder, gosh, yeah. So now whenever, around Christmas time, everybody's always going on the whole, is Die Hard a Christmas movie spiel, right? And there's like every year on Facebook and Instagram, there are countless debates. I'm going to throw in Rocky IV from now on. Is Rocky
yeah.
IV? Yeah, I'm just going to throw it in. I've never noticed it and I've never heard anybody mention it. So now I'm aware and I'm going to bring it up and see what other people think. Because yeah, you're right. They do throw in Cobra. Like, well, what about, well, if Die Hard's a Christmas movie, then Cobra's a Christmas movie. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with that for sure. Yeah.
But what's weird is they never mentioned Die Hard 2. That's
I know.
totally, it's Christmas.
Absolutely. I know. It's like, honestly, to me, it feels more Christmas than the first one,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I love part 2. I actually watched that one more than part 1.
I do too. It's so much fun. Yeah.
Even though I know technically Die Hard 1 is the better film overall, part 2 to me is just the more fun. Like it's the way it's shot, it's the editing, Rennie Harlan like firing on all cylinders, man, like 1000%.
Now, this may surprise you, but I really like Rocky IV a lot.
That does surprise me.
It's a great hour and a half to eat popcorn by, and I want more, because he can make another great villain. I want Rocky V.
I don't want Rocky V. Please don't give me Rocky V.
You'd rather have Halloween 5 or something.
I wouldn't rather have Halloween 5, and I don't want Friday the 13th 5. What I'm amazed about is that you wanted Rocky 4. This movie is the bottom of the barrel. At the beginning, the first half hour, every scene is obligatory. He has to check in with Adrian. He has to talk to his brother-in-law. Here's little Rocky Jr.
What would you have him do? Meet a whole bunch of new people?
Well, I think that would be interesting. Yes, as a matter of fact.
We're kind of like thumbs like this, probably for
Yeah, that's where we're at. Absolutely.
the new director's cut. Who knows?
There you go. It's a new director's cut, and that's how we are genuinely feeling about these director's cuts in general. So it's like, okay, it just makes you appreciate the theatrical cut a little bit more, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now we know we're talking about this, dude. If there's any way he's got the pull to like dig up those lost scenes from Cobra that have been lost forever, man, and create a director's cut of that, the whole mythical, alternate, because you can find those, some of those scenes on YouTube and stuff. But God, everybody keeps talking about how much more violent that movie was supposed to be, and how that's one I would love to see.
That and Nighthawks. Give me that.
Nighthawks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's start a petition.
Yeah, those are the ones we want to see, Sly.
Yeah.
Don't mess with what's already golden. Okay.
There you go. Exactly. There you go.
Even though those movies are awesome on their own anyway.
Yes.
But
yes. Absolutely.
More of the same of that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this was fun. Thank you so much.
This is awesome.
All right,
Thank
man.
you,
Take it easy.
Jason. Take care.
Yeah.